Was this previously produced in the United States?
It was not previously produced, but it was produced as an exhibit in the state trial.
Okay, so we would object for not having previously received this.
Okay. Okay. And Ms. Puana, could you take a look at the top of that page? Do you see what the heading is? Okay, do you see at the top that this, where it says Island Title Corporation?
Island Title, yes.
And then you see under that where it says disbursement instructions? Just at the top of the page where it says disbursement instructions?
I signed that.
Okay. So that is your signature on this document?
That is. I signed it.
Okay. I would move this into evidence, Exhibit 1002.
Object on lack of foundation.
Okay. And do you see where under disbursement instructions, I know it's a little small, where it says property address 3934 Nioi Place, Honolulu, Hawaii? Was that your house?
Yes.
And do you see at the bottom, there's a copy of a check that's written void across it?
That's a Bank of Hawaii.
Yes. And I know it's very small, but can you see what the names are on the check?
Katherine N. and I.
Correct. So these were your instructions on what to do with the money from the reverse mortgage, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation.
No,
And this was your instructions to put the money into the Bank of Hawaii account, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation.
I don't remember ever doing that.
But you do agree that this is your two signatures on this document?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the two signatures. She could have done it herself.
So did you understand that you instructed the reverse mortgage bank to send the money to the joint account?
No, I don't remember ever saying that.
Okay. But that is your signature?
Yes, that is my signature.
Okay. Now, do you know why you've signed it twice?
No,
Okay. Well, do you understand that you signed it as Florence Puana successor trustee?
yes,
And that was for your husband's account, was it not? The John Puana Trust?
no, I don't know.
You don't know. And then
If I really understood that, I would never have signed. She could have had the paper, me signed, and then she does what she wants afterwards.
well,
How about that?
well, Ms. Kealoha's signature is nowhere on these disbursement instructions,
Yeah.
correct? It's only your signature on here twice, correct? Is that right?
I don't remember doing that.
Okay, we'll move on from there. Okay. Do you remember signing this document?
She must have brought it to me, and I signed it, and she did whatever she wanted afterwards.
But do you have a recollection of actually signing this document?
Yes, that's my signature.
Okay. And was Katherine present when you signed this document? If you don't remember,
No,
you don't remember if she was present?
no.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions too about the Greenwood condo. You indicated that you wanted to buy this condo for your son Gerard, correct?
Yes, I did want to.
Right. And you did buy that condo with the money from the reverse mortgage for Gerard, correct?
She told me she's paid for it, but she didn't.
Let me ask you this, Ms. Puana. Where does your son Gerard Puana live today?
Objection, relevance.
You can answer the question. Where does Gerard live today?
He lives in the condominium.
In the Greenwood condominium that you bought for him?
Yes.
With the money from the reverse mortgage. Is that right?
Because I paid for it myself.
You paid for the condo out of the reverse mortgage, isn't that true? With the money that you got from the reverse mortgage.
I did not get any money from the reverse mortgage. None.
So is it your testimony today that you spent $360,000?
That's the money that I told her that I would give her, and she said she would pay the condominium off.
But
she would pay the reverse mortgage, and the rest of the money she would refinance her home.
Okay, ma'am, but my question is, wasn't the money from the reverse mortgage used to buy a condominium at the Greenwood for Gerard?
It was supposed to, yes.
But he's living there today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, didn't your son Gerard ask to borrow some money?
Objection, hearsay.
Didn't Gerard borrow some money from you to buy furniture for his condo?
Objection, relevance, lack of
No, he
foundation.
did not.
Well, you have loaned Gerard money in the past, haven't you?
Objection, relevance.
Did you loan your son Gerard money in the past when he
I
needed it?
did, but that was all for my home, for the leaks and the stone wall I built. That was all the money I spent. I gave the money to Gerard to pay it off.
But didn't you sometimes give him money for other loans as well?
No,
Objection as to relevance.
Okay. So do you remember Gerard asking for your help in paying maintenance fees for the Greenwood?
Objection, hearsay.
Do you remember Gerard asking for you to help pay his maintenance fees for the
No.
Greenwood? Okay. May I please see 121, 152. Mhm. About 152. Okay. So, just a moment. Now, do you remember when you signed the reverse mortgage? Do you remember seeing documents for the reverse mortgage?
No, all the bills I had was, this is not a bill.
But I'm talking about before you actually got the reverse mortgage. Do you remember signing the documents that would get you the reverse mortgage?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you remember meeting with a woman named Sherry Motooka Higa?
Yes,
Okay. And she was with Central Pacific Bank, correct?
yes.
And was she the one?
That's when it was finalized.
And was she the one who helped you with the reverse mortgage?
Yes.
And do you remember talking to her about the reverse mortgage before you signed the documents?
Could you repeat that?
Do you remember talking to her before you signed any documents?
Talking to whom?
To Sherry Motooka Higa.
Yeah, she spoke to me.
So do you remember you testified on direct that you sold your house? You sold 3934 Nioi Place, is that correct, ma'am? Ma'am? Is it correct that you sold your house, 3934?
Yes, I did that.
You don't remember. Okay. But you did sell your house in 2013, correct?
No,
No, you did not sell your house in 2013?
long after that.
Okay. But you did sell your house at some point, correct?
Objection, compound question. Is there a pending question?
Ms. Puana, on direct you testified that you thought you were going to lose your house. Is that correct?
That's true.
All right. But indeed, you sold your house, correct? You did not lose your house.
I sold my house because I had to. I did not want to sell my house, but I did.
But you sold your house for money and you recovered money from the sale of that house, correct?
That's true.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Puana, again, if you don't understand me or you can't hear me, just ask me to repeat the question. I'd be
Yes.
happy to do that. So we had a lunch break. Were you able to speak to the U.S. Attorney over the lunch break?
Yes,
And did you speak about your deposition here today?
I did take my papers with me, so I didn't.
But
No.
did you speak to Mr. McDonald or Mr. Orobona
Yes.
about the
Yes.
case? Okay. So do you remember what you...
Just for the record purposes, the United States attorneys did not speak over the break with the witness about the case.
Okay. Is that correct, Ms. Puana? You do not?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Puana, you've testified a little bit about the reverse mortgage process. Do you remember first meeting with somebody by the name of Percy to discuss
Yes,
the reverse?
he came on the first day, and the second day he didn't come.
But did he explain the reverse mortgage process to you?
No, I had a phone call,
Okay.
and whoever was from the mainland, they called me, and they told me that I should stay in the home as long as I live.
Okay, and so the person from the mainland explained that you could stay in the home as long as you lived?
Yes, yes. And I got where you cannot leave your home, and different things that I heard in the phone. And that's all I learned about the first mortgage.
And then you also spoke to Percy, and he explained the reverse mortgage process to you, right?
Well, she called. The next day she came.
I'm speaking about Percy. I believe his last name was Ihara.
Yes,
He also told you about the reverse mortgage
yes,
process.
she always told me,
Yeah.
yes.
And then I think you're referring to, you met with Sherry Motooka Higa 2 times as well, right?
Well, she came.
Well,
She
let's do it this
didn't
way.
come in.
Did she meet with you one time?
Yes, one time. The only time I saw her is when we finalized at the Liberty Bank. Liberty Loan Bank. And when the reverse mortgage was finalized, I met with Katherine and Cherie.
Well, so the first time you met with her was in May of 2009, correct?
I don't remember that meeting.
And Sherimoto Okahiga, when she met with you, she indicated that the federal government's very strict about reverse mortgages.
Objection, relevance.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that Ms. Moto
No, I
Okahiga
don't.
talked to you about the reverse mortgage?
All I was told, that Kathy told me, it would take 3 months, not longer than 6 months.
Well,
Yeah.
do you remember Sherimoto Okahiga telling you that you would have to go through separate counseling?
No,
Do you remember that you signed a certificate of your counseling with HUD? You signed a certificate after you met with Sherimoto Okahiga, didn't you?
Objection, relevance. You can answer the question if you know and if you remember.
no, I don't. I don't remember that.
And you went through counseling, though, over the phone. You testified to that on direct.
I tried. I tried.
Well, do you remember telling us that you talked to somebody on the phone about the reverse mortgage?
Objection, vague as to telling some party about the reverse mortgage.
And this will be Defense Exhibit 1007. And Ms. Puana, this document is entitled Central Pacific Home Loans in the upper left corner, correct?
Yes,
And then you see under that where it has your name?
yes, it's on the top, yes.
Yes, and your address, 3934 Nioi Place. And then under that, do you see, I know it's hard to read, it's very small, but under your name, it says 3934 Nioi Place. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, here. So small.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
nine.
and again, at the bottom left, do you see a signature?
Yes.
That's your signature, correct?
Yes.
And it's dated May 5th, 2009, is that right?
5/3/59, 69.
Right.
Is that 69?
Now, do you remember when Sherry Motooga Higa met with you, she told you that the reverse mortgage could build up interest? She told you that, correct?
I'm telling you now, I did not have any kind of talk about it except the one on the man that called from the mainland. That's the only time I heard about. That's how I found out that I could live in that house as long as I lived.
And you don't remember, Sherry Motooga Higa also told you you could live in that house as long as you lived and would never be kicked out of the
Objection, hearsay.
house.
I don't recall.
And do you remember that she told you that the
Objection,
interest could
hearsay.
build up? And Ms. Motooga Higa showed you this amortization schedule, didn't she?
Objection, compound. I believe there are 2 questions pending.
She showed you this amortization schedule, correct?
I don't recall.
And if you could look at this, I know it's going to be difficult, but if you could look at the 7th column that says loan balance.
Loan balance.
I don't believe this document has been admitted into evidence, so we'd object at this time.
Okay, I would move to admit this document based on Ms. Puana's agreement that this is her signature at the bottom of the document.
No objection.
And do you see, Ms. Puana, on that first line, column 7, it says loan balance $534,000, $596.01. I'm just asking if you see that number on there. If you're having trouble finding it, perhaps Mr. McDonald can help you to find it.
Can you find that? Is that the total?
Sorry, what is the pending question?
I'm asking her about the loan balance, if that she can see that loan balance.
We would object. I mean, the document speaks for itself.
Okay. So do you remember Ms. Motooga Higa indicated that the home value could continue to rise and rise over the course of 10 years?
Objection, hearsay.
And that it could rise up to $1 million, over $1 million?
Again, I told you, and I'll say again, I never received anything until I got that letter.
Ma'am, I'm not asking about documents you received right now. I'm asking you about your conversation with Ms. Motooga Higa.
But had I had this papers, I would have known about it. But I never received anything. That's the reason why she had her mail sent to her house.
But Ms. Puana, I'm asking you about this document, and you do not, and Ms. Motooga Higa reviewing this document with you.
But I had not seen that before.
Do you remember her showing you this Exhibit 1007, the amortization table, and telling you that the mortgage could build and build and build over the years and get to be as high as $983,000?
Objection, hearsay. You can
Had
ask.
I
You can answer the
known
question.
that, I would have sold my house before that. Had I known that I owed that much.
So is it your answer that you did not know this? Okay. I would like to show the witness Exhibit 1001 again at page 56.
Which portion of page 56 does counsel intend to direct the witness to?
Starting with line 1. So weren't you asked by Mr. Samita, okay, do you remember her showing this amortization table and showing you that after years and years of building the interest and not making any payment, the mortgage could be as high as almost $1 million, $983,000. Do you remember her talking to you about that? And you answered, I know that. I know that the thing could get higher and higher, but we never got any. All the document we had says this is not a bill. Do you remember this testimony?
Listen, that testimony, I lost. I lost that one. And that was
Mrs. Puana,
the first time.
just answer the question that
Yes.
she asks you, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember testifying at trial in answering this question?
And what?
Please read your answer starting at line 7.
Remember.
Didn't you testify, Ms. Puana, that you knew the thing would get higher and higher?
No, I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
I really don't.
But you do remember signing this paper, correct? This is your signature.
Objection vague as to this paper.
Exhibit 1007, that is your signature at the bottom of the amortization schedule in Exhibit 1007.
Asked and answered. Objection. You can answer the question. If you know the answer to the question, you can answer that question. Okay?
But I don't remember it.
Okay,
Could
let
you
me
repeat?
ask it again. This is your signature at the bottom of Exhibit
Yes,
1007.
I know it is.
Yes, okay. And do you remember being informed that even though the mortgage would get higher and higher and then interest would continue to build up, that you would not have to worry, that you could live in the house as long as you lived?
Objection. The question contains hearsay.
You may answer the question. Do you need me to repeat it?
I can answer it, but I'll tell you again that I never knew how much my amount was
But Ms.
until I finally got that letter saying that if I don't pay that yearly.
Okay, ma'am, let me break this down for you a little bit. Do you remember, you knew that the mortgage could get higher and higher, and that interest would
if
continue
it
to
wouldn't
build?
be paid. But I was told it was paid all the time.
That's not listen to my, you knew that the mortgage, the interest would continue to get higher and higher.
Well, eventually, if I wouldn't pay anything,
So you
it
knew
would have.
that. And you knew that even if that happened, you could live in that house as long as you lived.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I was told that.
So you knew at the time that you sold your Nioi Place house that you did not have to move out of the house.
Yes, I was told that.
Now, as I understand some of your testimony from direct, you indicated, I believe, that you wanted to get the reverse mortgage so you could buy the condominium for your son Gerard, correct? And the money was bought with the reverse mortgage, correct?
Yes,
So the Greenwood condo did not have a mortgage on it, correct?
no, it doesn't.
And you told Gerard that he was going to have to pay for his own house, isn't that right?
That's right. And Cassie told me that she could help me to help Jerry to get that appointment. And I told her, how can I do that? She said she could help me for me to get the money, and she would pay
Okay, ma'am,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but my question was that Gerard agreed to pay for his own house, correct?
yes,
Okay. And that you told him he was supposed to take over the loan, isn't that right?
yes,
Objection vague as to loan.
You told him that he was supposed to take over the payment for the house, correct?
Objection vague as to house.
For the Greenwood condo. You told him that he should take over the payment for the Greenwood condo, isn't that correct?
Gerard would take over
Yes.
and pay.
And you
Yeah,
told him he
Kathy.
was going to make his own monthly payments, isn't that right?
Pardon?
He was going to make his own monthly payments for the Greenwood condo. Isn't that correct?
Well, Gerard would pay Kathy.
He would pay
If
for
she-
the loan himself, though, because he was going to live in the condo.
Objection misstates the evidence.
He would live in the condo.
He was going to live in the condo, and
Yes,
and isn't that why he was going to make the payments for the condo?
I never heard that. I didn't
And
know that.
your granddaughter, Kathy, was not going to live in the condo, was she?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. She had her own house, correct?
Yes, she did.
And you made it clear to both Gerard and Kathy that he was going to pay for his Greenwood condo. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And Gerard would pay her every month. And that was the agreement.
But you made it clear to Gerard that he was going to have to pay for his own condo loan.
Yes.
His own
Objection has
condo.
to answered.
Now I'd like to move back to something we touched on briefly before. You would loan money to Gerard, wouldn't you? from time to
Objection
time?
relevance.
Do you remember loaning money to Gerard?
I never loaned money to Gerard.
You would not loan him any money.
No.
Weren't there times that was where Gerard was short on money and you would have to loan him money?
No. Whatever money he had, he deserved.
Okay. I'd like to show you Exhibit 1001 again, starting at page 61, line 23. So starting on line 23, page 61.
You see, 22. Okay, so starting on time.
And if you could read that question continuing over to the next page, 62, and your answer on line 2.
I never told Gerard that I could give him money when he won.
Did you finish reading that part of the testimony?
Yes.
Does that refresh your memory of what you previously testified to?
Yes,
And so you did admit that you loaned money to Gerard, correct?
I would never tell him he would have money because I didn't have money myself to give him.
Hold on just a minute. Okay. And you also see on page 62, going on to line 9, if you could read that portion, all the way to
9.
line 14. Have you read from line 9 to line 14? No.
I never ever said that whenever Gerard wanted money, I would give it to him.
So does this refresh your memory, though, of what you previously testified to in court?
Yes, I know what it says. I know.
And so, Ms. Puana, are you denying that you said that in court?
I don't remember what I said in court.
I'm sorry, Ms. Puana, I guess you didn't understand my question. Did you rely upon
Yes,
Gerard
I did. Yes, I did.
to keep track of loans that you made to him?
Objection, relevance.
So you did rely upon him to keep track of the loans?
I relied on him because I couldn't drive, so he took me everywhere.
And I believe you testified earlier that you stopped driving around age 90, is that correct?
When I was 90 years old.
And he was the means of your transportation, correct?
Pardon?
He drove you after you stopped driving, is that correct?
Yeah, he drove me everywhere.
And he drove you in the car that you previously owned, correct?
He drove. No, he had his own car.
And
Later, when I stopped driving, he sold it and he got another car.
and the car that he drove you around in, that was the silver car, wasn't it?
No, he had a different car.
Okay. What color was the car that you drove, the car that you owned?
It was
Objection as to
station
relevance.
wagon or something.
I'm asking about the color of the car.
Objection as to relevance. Vague as to car.
Ms. Puana, you indicated that you stopped driving when you were about age 90, correct? And didn't you give your car to Gerard to drive?
Yes, and then he sold it.
And the car that he drove, wasn't it silver in color?
No,
It was not silver.
Objection as to the car. Vague.
Well, Ms. Puana, I'm referring to the car that you previously owned that you gave to Gerard. It was silver, wasn't it?
Objection as to relevance.
my sister gave him the car when she passed away.
And your sister's name
And
was Rose Fryer?
He still had the silver car that I said was white.
Okay. Was the silver car the car that belonged to your sister?
Yes,
Objection, relevance.
And your son, Gerard Puana, he drove that car for a number of years, didn't he?
well,
Objection as to
after
relevance.
my sister died, that's the only car he had.
Okay. And what year did your sister die?
Objection, relevance.
You may answer the question. Do you remember what year your sister died?
Yes, 5 years ago.
So approximately in 2014?
Yes,
Okay. And so, do you remember testifying about the deposition that you went to with Ms. Kealoha on June 19th, 2013? Was that the same car that Gerard was driving at that
Yes.
time? And it was silver, wasn't it?
Yes, but I always say white.
Right, correct. And he'd been driving that car for a number of years, correct?
Yes,
And so Katherine, your granddaughter, would have seen him driving that car, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
You may answer the question.
I can answer the question.
Do you know that if Katherine saw Gerard driving that silver car?
I guess so. I don't know if she did or not.
Okay, but that was a car that he drove during that time period, during the period of 2011, 2012, 2013,
Yes,
2014.
because my sister died then.
Does counsel have any further questions of this witness?
Yes, just one moment. So, Ms. Puana, I'd like to show you, we're talking about money and money that you had loaned or hadn't loaned to your son Gerard. So I'd like to show you an exhibit. T62. And this will be Defense Exhibit 1008. Okay. Now, Ms. Puana, I'd like to turn to a different area which you've already testified about on direct examination, and that's the MetLife statements. So if I may, I'd like to show Ms. Puana Government's Exhibit E119. So Ms. Puana, as you testified, these were statements from MetLife, correct?
This states this is not a bill.
But this is something that you've already testified to as being from MetLife. Is that what it says in the upper left-hand corner? Ms. Puana, I'm only asking if this is from MetLife. Is that what's written in the upper corner?
Yes,
Okay. And I'd like you to look underneath MetLife. Do you see your name where it says Florence M. Puana?
yes,
And under that, your name, it's addressed to your address, right? 3934 Nioi Place?
yes,
Okay. So this came to your house, correct? Ms. Puana?
yeah, that came to my house.
Right.
And yes, it did. Finally,
Well, Ms. Puana, could you please look at the date in the, I believe it's the, under where it says this is not a bill, doesn't it say the statement period is October 31st, 2009 to November 30th, 2009?
yes,
So you received this statement in 2009, didn't you?
yes, when it finally got to my address.
But the date on this bill is October 31st, 2009 to November 30th, 2009, correct?
Yes.
So this is right after the reverse mortgage closed, correct?
Yes.
And is your testimony today that you never received this bill until later?
Objection, that misstates her testimony.
Ms. Puana, you testified earlier that you did not see this statement until later. When did you see this statement?
Objection, that misstates her testimony.
Let me ask it this way, Ms. Puana. In the time period between October 31st and November 2009, you were still living at 3934 Nioi Place, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is it your testimony today that you did not receive this bill in 2009?
Objection, that misstates.
2009.
I'm asking a
Objection,
question.
misstates
Is
testimony.
it your testimony that you did not receive this bill in 2009?
Objection, that misstates
Well,
her testimony.
actually,
I know I'm asking a question.
yes, I did receive it.
You did receive it?
Yes,
Okay.
I did receive it.
And you did receive it in 2009, correct?
It has my address.
Okay. I'm sorry, if I could turn to page 2. And same question, this is also from MetLife, isn't it? Page 2. Is this from MetLife in the upper left-hand corner?
Yes.
And again, is this addressed to you at 3934 Nioi Place?
Yes.
And do you see in the middle where it says statement period February 28th, 2010 to March 31st, 2010?
2010.
That's what it says there, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And the original principal showing this bill is, well, on this document is $537,000 and $5,373.04.50. Do you see that?
So that's when I decided to sell my house.
Okay, and then do you see where it says current total loan balance is $551,5350? That was the current loan balance, correct?
Yes.
And again, you received this bill, didn't you, in 2010?
I might have. I don't know.
Okay. If you could turn to page 3. Now this is again a statement from MetLife, correct?
Yes.
And is addressed to you, Florence M. Puana, at 3934 Nioi Place, correct?
Yes.
And it's for the statement period of March 31st, 2010 to April 30th, 2010, correct?
Yes. It said the other one said this is not a bill.
Okay. And then do you see towards the bottom where it says current total loan balance? It says $553,800. Can can barely read it, 66 and 31 cents. Do you see that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so you received this bill after April 2010, didn't you?
I received that.
Yes.
And like I said, that's how I decided to sell my house.
Okay. Can I see the next one? Did we see all the pages? Oh, okay, all right, okay. Now, isn't it true that when you were living at Niue Place, Gerard was living with you in the period of 2009 to 2012?
Objection as to relevance.
No,
Gerard was not living with you at that time?
I wasn't living at my house.
Not in 2009?
No,
Well, didn't you testify earlier that you moved to Kailua in 2013?
well, I didn't. I just came to Kailua.
But that was in 2013,
Yes,
correct?
Yes,
So in 2009 and 2010, you were still living at Niue Place, correct? You were still living at 3934 Niue Place in 2009 and 2010. Isn't that right?
yes,
And didn't you testify earlier that sometimes people would help to pick up your mail?
Objection misstates her testimony.
yeah. That was,
So sometimes would Gerard help you to pick up your mail?
no, Gerard never picked my mail.
Okay, well, I would like to refer you to Exhibit 1001 at page 104.
Nobody was taking my mail.
Line 23. So didn't you testify in state court? So Gerard must have, question, so Gerard must have helped you pick up your mail from time to time, right? Answer, yes, he did. So you did state that, isn't that correct?
It says here I did, yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, moving on to, you've already testified that you decided to file a lawsuit against your granddaughter, Kathy, in
Yes, I did.
2013, correct? And I believe you testified that you filed the lawsuit because you didn't receive any statements or papers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've also testified that you wrote a letter to your granddaughter, Kathy,
Yes, I
in
did.
September 2015, correct? But you didn't write that letter yourself, did you?
My daughter wrote it, and I told her what to write.
And by your daughter, you mean your daughter, Kay Hartzell, wrote that
Yes.
letter, correct? Okay. And is it your testimony that you told her what to write in that letter?
Yes,
And then you read it and approved it,
yes,
and you signed it?
yes,
Okay. So, is it your testimony today that everything you wrote in that letter is accurate?
I told her I would.
I'm just asking if what you wrote in that letter is accurate.
I told her that I would like to talk it over.
Ms.
And-
I'm sorry, ma'am, maybe I'm not framing my question correctly, but is everything that you wrote in that September 2012 letter accurate?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yes, let's refer to the, I know that this has already been introduced as a plaintiff's exhibit. We also have our own copy, but we can use yours as well if you have it. The September 10th, 2012 letter. Just use it. I'm sorry, I forget the exhibit number.
It's 1-9.
1-9, okay. So, Ms. Puana, this is the letter you previously testified to, correct?
Yes, I did.
And if I could refer you to the third paragraph, you wrote, didn't you write, I trusted you when you came to me in October 2009 with the idea of a reversed mortgage on my house. Do you see that line?
Yes,
So is it your testimony today that Kathy came to you in October of 2009 with the idea for the reverse mortgage?
yes, she came to my house.
In October 2009? That's what you wrote in the letter, correct?
Well, my daughter wrote it, so
But ma'am, didn't you
Alrighty.
just tell us that you approved and agreed with everything you wrote in that letter and it was accurate?
yes,
Okay. And isn't it true that the reverse mortgage for your house closed in September of 2009?
clothes.
By closed, I mean that is when the reverse mortgage paid, the company, the bank paid the money for the reverse
Yes.
mortgage.
That was at the Central Pacific Bank.
Right, but it happened in September of 2009, correct?
September, yes.
Okay, so this is not accurate when you say that Kathy came to you in October 2009 with the idea of the reverse mortgage.
Well, it could be an error. Anybody can write an error.
Okay,
Yes,
and isn't it true you further wrote here, I trusted you when you came to me in October 2009 with the idea of a reverse mortgage on my house so I could buy a condo at the Greenwood and you could borrow around $300,000, which you said was to consolidate your debts. So didn't you tell Kathy that she had borrowed $300,000? Ma'am, isn't that what you wrote in the letter? That Kathy borrowed $300,000?
yes, it says here.
And again, you told your daughter what to write, correct?
Yes,
So today, are you saying that $300,000 was the amount that you claimed Kathy borrowed?
for the condominium, yes. And the rest she was going to use to refinance her home.
Didn't you testify before the state court that the Greenwood condominium cost $360,000?
Objection, hearsay, improper impeachment.
And didn't you testify at the state trial that the entire amount that was borrowed was $537,000?
That's what it should have been.
Okay. But didn't you then testify that that amount must have been wrong?
Well, like
Objection
I
as to,
said,
that's vague.
anybody can make an error because we didn't have the exact amount.
Okay, perhaps it would help you if I referred you, hold on just a minute, to Exhibit 1001, page 135. Line 2.
Is that what?
Okay, didn't you testify, the question was, okay, so do you know where that number came from in your letter? Answer, I don't know. Question, okay, when you read it and you approved it and you signed it, did you ask Kay where that number came from? Answer, like I said, I don't remember any amount of money that I told her to put down. I don't remember telling her to put those because she didn't know anything of the amount that I had borrowed, so I don't know how it came about that. I don't remember telling her to put that amount. Question, when you read it and you approved it and you signed it, did you notice that there was a number 300,000 on it before you signed it? Answer, again, I told you I didn't even know that, what number to give her, because I don't remember seeing any amount of money on that letter.
That's the last trial.
Question, oh, are you saying that when you signed the letter that the number part was blank? Answer, pardon? Question, oh, are you saying that when you signed the letter, the place where the numbers are, the $300,000, that was a blank? Answer, I don't remember any amount of money written in the letter. Didn't you testify to that?
We object. Improper impeachment, hearsay.
Didn't you testify to that at the state trial?
That was before the reverse mortgage.
Well, I'm referring to the letter that you wrote to your granddaughter, Katherine, on September 10th, 2012.
But the other trial that I went, that's a different trial. I didn't even have a reverse mortgage then.
Right, but I'm just asking if this is what you said about your letter at the state trial. Okay, that's fine. Moving on.
That is,
It's okay.
okay.
Just listen to the questions.
Yes. So earlier, you looked at the statements from NetLife that came to your home address, correct?
Yes,
And those were coming in 2009 and into 2010, correct? And at one point you testified that you changed your address to a post office box, isn't that correct?
I didn't change it. Kathy did.
Well, you testified on direct, did you not, that you signed a document?
But that
Agreeing
was
to-
the other trial I went to. This is a different.
Ma'am, no, I'm referring to today, you testified that you signed a document changing your address to the post office address. That was just today. Perhaps it'll refresh your memory if we can show you the exhibit. This exhibit.
We would object argumentative to the prior exchange. Is that the right one?
Yes. Isn't this your name on this exhibit? And is that your signature? Isn't that your signature on that exhibit? Agreeing to change to the post office box?
Could counsel repeat the question?
I'm sorry. Isn't that your signature on that document?
Yes, that's my signature.
And isn't that the document that changed your address to the post office box?
The address.
Is it changing it to an address at Wailea Avenue?
Yes,
And that's where the post office box was, correct?
that's where Kathy's post box. I didn't have.
But,
That was at the UPS. She changed her mail, and that was her address there.
but your name is now on that post
Yes,
office box,
my
correct?
name is there because she took me to the UPS to have my mail go to her box so she could get it, So on her way home, she would pick it up.
Okay. But you could pick up mail at that post office box
No,
too.
I didn't have a key. I didn't have a lock. I didn't even get to that. I couldn't even get there.
Isn't it true, Ms. Puana, that you could have gone to that post office box and obtained your mail by showing your ID, even if you didn't have a key?
She asked me for my ID. She asked me for my driver's license
At the post office box?
at the UPS.
At the UPS.
Yes, and also my Foodland card, and she had it all in paper, and she told me to sign my name, and she would have my mail going to her box, so on her way home she would pick it up and it would be easier.
But ma'am, that's not my question. My question is, did you know you had the option to present your own ID at the UPS post office?
I didn't know what she took me for. She just told me.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm asking you, did you know that you could get your mail by presenting your ID at the UPS
I
office?
did not know. She didn't tell me. I didn't know. I never worked with the UPS before.
And isn't it true, though, you went to UPS to sign the document changing your address?
She asked me my driver's license and
I'm
also
sorry, she meaning,
Catherine.
but didn't you have to show that ID to the UPS
She
office?
took me, yes.
So you went to the UPS office and showed your
Yes.
ID?
And she said that would be
But
easier
ma'am,
for
that's,
her.
the only question I'm asking is whether you showed your ID at the UPS office.
I didn't know that.
No, did you show your ID when you signed the document changing your address?
Yes,
And it's your testimony that you did not know you could pick up your mail by showing your ID?
yes, but don't you have to have a key to get into the mailbox? I didn't have a key.
But ma'am, did you know that you could have picked up your mail by just showing your ID, even if you didn't have a key?
Objection. Asked and answered,
I
badgering the
did not
witness.
know
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
I did not know.
I don't think we can introduce this at this point because we haven't, but just for identification. Did there come a point in time where you decided to have a meeting with people in your family about the reverse mortgage?
No, because I told her that she said it would take just 3 months, no more than 6 months.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not clear about my question. After the reverse mortgage had funded, was there a time when you met with other members of your family?
Well, they knew about it. I told them.
You object as to vague on meeting with family.
So do you remember, though, having a meeting with your family?
Objection as to
Yes, I
vague.
did.
Okay. And do you remember do you remember that some of your children were present at that meeting?
Objection vague.
What was
Okay.
that?
Do you remember having a meeting where Charlotte, your daughter Charlotte, your daughter
Yes.
Kay Hartzell, her husband Rick Hartzell, your
Yes.
daughter Carolyn, and your son Gerard
Yes.
were present? And at that meeting, didn't you explain to them about the reverse mortgage?
At that meeting, I told them what I did. I signed the paper and I got a reverse mortgage, but I found out that it was not paid, so I was going to sell my home.
So, and at that meeting, didn't you tell other members of your family that Catherine would put down the down payment on the reverse mortgage?
Objection hearsay.
I did not tell anything like that to my family.
Okay. I'd like to refer you to Exhibit 1001, page 145, starting at line 20. question was, and you told them, starting at line 20, the question was, and you told them that Kathy would put down the payment, the down payment, and he would take over the mortgage after that. You told them that, right? Answer, I would take over the mortgage? Question, no, that Kathy would put down the down payment, and he, Gerard, would take over the mortgage after that. Isn't that what you told them at that meeting? Answer, yes. Question, okay, and you told them that...
Sorry, counsel, are you on to page 146?
I'm sorry, I'm on 146 now.
Okay.
Okay, and you told them that Gerard would take over the loan, right? Answer, yes. Pay Kathy monthly. Question, right. So you did tell them this.
Tell my family that?
Yes. Isn't that your testimony that you testified to in the state court?
The state court?
This is what we're looking at in Exhibit 1001.
Yes, I mean, I didn't even have a mortgage at that time. I didn't have a reverse mortgage at the time I went to this trial.
Okay, but this is at some point where you had a meeting with your family.
But how can I get a meeting if I didn't even have a mortgage, or I didn't have a...
Okay.
How can I have a meeting with my family if I didn't even have the mortgage yet? I can't understand that.
Okay. So what was the trial about then if you didn't have anything left to argue about? If you didn't have a reverse mortgage, what was the trial about?
Objection, vague.
Ms. Puana, do you not remember what the trial was about?
Objection, vague.
It was about mostly of the checks that I made, and I explained everything.
Okay.
That was mostly of the checks. And it didn't have anything to do with the mortgage, because I didn't even have a mortgage that time.
Ms. Puana, I have one question for you too about the power of attorney. You testified earlier today that your granddaughter, Kathy, held the power of attorney for you, correct?
Yes, she did.
And your testimony earlier, I believe, was that that power of attorney was so you could get the reverse mortgage. Is that correct?
If she was going to be my attorney.
For the reverse mortgage, correct?
Yes.
But isn't it true that you're the only one who signed any documents for the reverse mortgage?
Yes, because my son wouldn't sign it.
But your granddaughter, Kathy, never signed a document for the reverse mortgage. Isn't that correct?
If she didn't sign, how did she be my attorney?
Well, I'm talking about the documents that we reviewed earlier today. Remember, you testified that you had counseling with Sherry Motooka Higa and with the person on the phone, and that we went through all the documents where you identified your signature, but none of those documents had Katherine Kealoha's signature on them, did they?
I don't know.
All those documents were signed by you, correct?
I can't remember.
Okay.
But she was my attorney. She was going to be my attorney.
Okay.
I asked her to be my attorney.
Do you remember what the result was of the state civil trial?
Objection, relevance.
Can you repeat that question?
Do you remember what the result was of the state civil trial?
I lost it.
I'm sorry, I have at least two more exhibits. We'll do this one first since you've already marked it. I'd like to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 1021. And this is part of a document that is in the discovery, and it does have the date stamp on the bottom. Ms. Puana, looking at that, what I've handed to you as Defense Exhibit 1021, who is that in that photograph?
Pardon?
Can you identify who that is in that photograph?
No, I don't. I don't know who he is.
You don't know who that is? Okay, thank you. Okay, and then I have one more exhibit to show you. This will be Defense Exhibit 1022. This was one of the state's exhibits which was not introduced for this deposition. So I believe that this is in our discovery. Okay. Ms. Puana, if I could show you this document. Do you see at the top where it says this is a tax clarification affidavit?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you see under that it says regarding the Greenwood condo, 1128 Napu Nani Street, number 1803, Honolulu, Hawaii? Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. That was your son Gerard's condo, wasn't it?
No, that was for Kathy's taxes.
But isn't this regarding Gerard's condo, the Greenwood condo, that's his address, correct?
No, didn't have anything to do with that. She gave me a paper and she told
Ma'am,
me.
I'm sorry, I'm not phrasing my question correctly, I
She
guess.
told.
Ma'am,
listen-
I'm sorry.
listen-
I
listen
will
to her
rephrase my
question.
question.
Okay.
And then just answer the question
Okay.
that she asks you,
Okay.
okay?
Isn't this about the Greenwood condo? Doesn't that what that says on this document? Isn't that what it says under regarding subject property, the Greenwood condo?
What about the condo?
Okay, that's your son Gerard's condo, isn't it? Isn't that where he lives today?
Yes, but
Okay, that's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know for now. And turning to page 2 of this document, is that your signature about a third of the way down the page? Isn't that your signature?
yes, it is.
And it's dated July 30th, 2010, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and do you see under that there's what appears to be an acknowledgement by a notary public? Isn't that correct? Do you see where it says notary public and then acknowledgement?
yes,
So you signed this document on July 30th, 2010, before a notary, correct?
I went to get this notarized because I know this two
Okay.
of ours.
Okay.
I know her.
Okay,
So I was supposed to take the paper that Kathy gave me.
okay. So
And
turning back to the first page, this affidavit in paragraph 1 says it's regarding a reverse mortgage transaction with Central Pacific Home Loans. Isn't that correct?
We object to this on hearsay grounds. This is an out-of-court statement.
This is
Do you see
not-
on paragraph 1 where it says a reverse mortgage transaction with Central Pacific Home Loans?
I can't answer that.
I'm just asking if you
Question.
see this on the document.
Counsel, could you repeat the question, please?
Well, perhaps it'd be easier this way. If you want, I can read this to you, and then you can just acknowledge that that's what it says. This reverse home loan transaction has completed as of June 2000, I'm sorry, reverse mortgage transaction with Central Pacific Home Loans was initiated to purchase the above subject property located at 1128 Na Punani Street, number 1803, Honolulu, Hawaii, 9618. That's what the first sentence says, correct? And then it says, this reverse home loan transaction has been completed as of June 2010, and my agent was Sherry Motooka Higa. That's correct, right? That's not correct?
Not to me it is.
You do not have a reverse mortgage with Sherry Motooka Higa at Central Pacific Home Loans?
But that's not the text papers that I was given.
Well, Ms. Puana, you just indicated that you signed this document before a notary on July 30th, 2010, didn't you?
This is the paper that I had. I had to go and have it notarized, and my friend did this. And I was told after I got this,
I'm sorry,
to
Ms.
send it
Puana.
back to her.
I'm sorry, Ms. Puana, that's not the
Okay,
question. And I'm
okay.
sorry, before I forget, I'd like to move Exhibit 1022
Okay,
into evidence.
We object on hearsay grounds.
Okay. And Ms. Puana, directing your attention to paragraph 4. Didn't you agree that my granddaughter, Katherine Kealoha, initiated this transaction with $83,600 of her own funds, which were a result of a residential home sale in 2005? Didn't you agree to that?
I never got to see that money.
But didn't you agree to this when you signed this document on
Yeah,
July
yes,
30th,
I signed it.
2010?
I signed it all right.
And didn't you also agree that this amount has been reimbursed to her and she has no funds that are owed to her as part of this completed transaction, correct? Isn't that what you agreed to when you signed this document?
No.
No, you didn't agree, you didn't sign this document.
Well,
Objection,
I
this
signed
states her
it.
testimony.
I signed it, and I had it notarized.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
but that wasn't the story that was asked of me to do.
That'll conclude our cross-examination.
Okay. Mrs. Puana, we have no further questions of you.
Okay, thank you.